Welcome to the Ravens Vail Coven. The Coven features short, independent stories with themes ranging from dark horror and fantasy to any other disturbing fiction. The Coven contains stories written outside the ongoing storyline of the Ravens Vail universe. The stories are submitted by listeners, authors, and storytellers and are carefully curated by the staff of Ravens Vail. To learn about our guidelines for submitting your story for consideration, go to www.ravensvail.com and click on the Submission tab on the menu bar.
The Ravens Vail Coven is part of our dark fantasy horror anthology podcast and may contain explicit language or thematic elements not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, hey there, family. I know we usually do stories for the adults, but this Halloween season, we thought it might be nice to do one for the young people. Now, you young people, we want you to know that the story you're about to hear is kind of spooky. But we also want you to know that it's a made-up story, and nothing in it is real. You don't have to be scared, unless you want to be. We hope you enjoy this story. So settle down now, young'uns, and listen up. I'm going to tell you the story of Curious Lilly. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the edge of a dark, dense forest beside a quiet town called Ravens Vail, there lived a curious little girl named Lilly. The villagers, people she had known all of her life, would often warn her about the Ravenswood Forest, a place where strange things were said to happen after the sun went down and it got dark. Local legend had it that a crazy old witch lived deep in the woods. Lilly was curious. Was there really a crazy old witch in the woods? What caused the strange things to happen? Was it the witch? One chilly October evening, as the sun dipped just below the horizon, Lilly's curiosity got the best of her. The family had finished dinner, Lilly's favorite, her mama's macaroni and cheese, and she had cleaned her plate. A little while after dinner, when the dishes had been cleaned up and her daddy had read her a bedtime story, Lilly had been sent off to bed. Lilly was curious. She decided she wanted to go into the Ravenswood Forest and see what everybody was talking about. So, she sneaked out of the house by climbing quietly out of her bedroom window. She had taken her favorite doll Bella to keep her company and her trusty flashlight. She clutched the flashlight tightly because, if truth be known, she was a little afraid of the dark. But her curiosity had gotten the best of her, and exploring the forest was the only thing she could think about. The trees loomed tall and twisted. Their branches were like skeleton fingers reaching out to the sky. Owls hooted. Crickets chirped. From on top of the hill, she heard a wolf howl. Lilly was curious. As Lilly walked deeper into the forest, she began to hear faint whispers. At first, she thought it was the wind, but the whispers grew louder and more clear. They seemed to be calling her name. Lilly, Lilly. And Lilly was more curious. Her heart pounded, but she pressed on, determined to uncover the mysteries of the Ravenswood Forest. She had walked what seemed like hours. She was curious, but she was now growing afraid. She had never been this far away from home, and she didn't know how to get back. She was lost. But Lily was curious. Suddenly, she stumbled upon an odd-looking old house. The house looked run down, like it had been abandoned. The windows were cracked and broken, and the front door was halfway open. She looked around and, not seeing anyone, called out, "Hello, is anyone home?" When there was no answer, she pushed open the door. As the door opened, it made a very spooky creaking sound. She gathered her courage and stepped through the doorway into the dark house. Moonlight shined through the broken windows, and she could see the place was just a mess. Lily was curious. Inside, the air was thick with dust and cobwebs. As she looked around, she heard the whispers again. They seemed very close, and the whispers were getting louder and more clear, echoing through the empty room. "Lily, help us!" Lily was a little more scared, but mostly curious. In the corner of the room, she saw an old, dirty mason jar almost hidden by a pile of books on an old bookshelf. When she gazed into the jar, she saw a faint, ghostly blue glow and tiny little eyes looking back at her. She was really scared at first, but being very curious, she picked up the jar and tried wiping some of the dirt off the side. Peering into the jar, she realized it was a group of tiny creatures that looked like delicate little fairies. From their looks, they had been trapped there for a long time. Their wings fluttered weakly, and their eyes pleaded for help. Lily was curious. "Please set us free," one of the fairies whispered. "We were captured by the wicked witch who lived deep in the forest. She plans to use our magic for her dark, evil spells." Lily's heart swelled with compassion. She carefully opened the jar, and the fairies flew out, their freedom renewing their strength. Their light filled the room with a warm golden glow. "Thank you, brave Lily," they chimed in unison. "We will never forget your kindness." Lily was curious. It was late, and Lily was lost. She asked her new friends if they would help her get home. With their shimmering wings lighting the path, Lily followed the fairies through the dark woods. The eerie whispers of the forest had faded, replaced by the gentle hum of the fairy wings. When they finally reached the edge of the village, the fairies, grateful for Lily's bravery, presented her with a small enchanted locket. "If you ever need us," they said, "just hold the locket in your hand and say, 'Come help me,' and we'll be there." Lily snuck back into her bedroom, her heart still racing from the adventure. She placed the flashlight on the shelf where she kept it. With Bella in her arms, she crawled under the covers, clutching the locket tightly. Just as she was about to drift off to sleep, a chilling voice echoed from the depths of the woods. "Since you've taken something of mine, now I'll have to take something of yours." The witch cackled, her voice drifting into the silence, leaving Lily trembling. She woke with a start from the nightmare about Ravenswood Forest. The sun had just begun peeking over the trees. Lily rubbed her eyes and wondered if it had all been a dream. But there, in her hand, was the enchanted locket. And although she looked everywhere, her beloved Bella was nowhere to be found. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the tale of Curious Lilly. We hope Lily's story wasn't too scary. Remember, curiosity can lead us to fascinating discoveries. But sometimes it might just uncover things best left unseen. Now, adults, if you all enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. Go on over to ravensvail.com and see about doing your chores on social media. Follow us on all the social media platforms that we've made available just for you folks. Like, listen, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you don't mind, leave us a good rating and a kind comment. You can find the Ravens Vail Coven podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And if you haven't already, just search for the Ravens Vail Coven podcast. And again, make sure you hit the follow button to stay up to date with our latest episodes. So until next time, family, stay curious, but not too curious. Sweet dreams.
Ravens Vail Coven is a production of Small Raven Media. Audio engineering and sound design by Nick Devan at Nicky D Sound. Copyrighted 2023 by Small Raven Media. All rights reserved.